spent this week playing the first episode to Incision. I wanted to do something quick, and Realms Deep was going on, so I had a chance to look at a score of spectacular shooters slipping into something more seasoned and senile. To recreate something of the past. It's a boomer shooter which is very reminiscent to the latter half of Dusk in many ways, with lots of flesh and machinery mixed together and just being plastered across the walls. Or they are the walls. My point is, the game has striking imagery. If it wasn't for the Quake style of everything, I'd probably be inclined to say it's vehemently disgusting instead of merely gross. There's also a good shaking of Lovecraftian Eldritch horror sprinkled in, with lots of text describing the Great Union and large cult sacrifice. There's a lot of flesh and machinery all over the damn place, plus on top of it all, it's implied that it's human flesh, and from sheer quantity and unearthly growth, from a higher, more incomprehensible power, that the world itself has covered in this thick, pulsating meat. Visually, when the game wants to be, it's stunning. It's awesomely grotesque. I can't describe enough that the imagery in this game can be like flat out disturbing. It's a shame that in all of its dark crimson splendor, you can't see a damn thing. It's pretty bad. The main color palette is this brown, it's gray, and dark reds, and it makes everything kind of blend in with one another, and due to the nature of the indiscriminate life form that inhabits life when dealing with Lovecraftian influence, it's hard to tell what's even going on in a hectic shooter. In something like, say, Bloodborne, which is also heavily influenced by Lovecraft, it's fairly simple, as you're typically dealing with only a few enemies at a single time. Unless they're specifically trying to overwhelm you. In a throwback shooter, it's more important to be able to see what's going on, and while the projectiles light up like Christmas night, a large portion of the enemies are difficult to tell apart, and then your best bet is to just blow everything to smithereens. Which, to their credit, they give you plenty of explosives, it gives you 8 different guns, and you end up defaulting to the same 2, because they just deal with everything better. The machine gun and the rocket launcher were my crutches, because the machine gun had a grenade launcher that kicked so much ass. But meanwhile, you might be saying, what about the shotgun, your workhorse? To that I'd say, it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, throwback shooters, you could tell a lot from their quality by the shotgun, what it sounds like, what its main use is it the workhorse? And this one left way too much to be desired. Other shotguns in games are the workhorses. They're solid weapons that are your go-to. They can be used in almost any situation. Now, I'm not saying every game uses their shotguns like that, but even then it'd still be like a good go-to for a high damage output. Meanwhile, this case seems to be a bit on the weaker side, and also having a bad case of the Doom 3 spread, where sometimes shots just kinda doing their own thing. And you have to put the thing up the enemy's nose if you actually expect to hit anything consistently. Speaking of Doom 3, the game also does that thing where you press a button, get a pickup, pass by a wall in your travels, and 10 guys are waiting behind it to shoot 3 dozen buzzsaws and snot rockets at you. It's annoying to deal with. It was dumb in Doom 3, and it still is. Granted, this is a problem with a lot of shooters. I can't really harp just this one. But either way, it's still annoying, and I've developed a reflex from the amount of times this had happened, where I twist my neck 180 degrees just to see who's about to shove what up my ass. The game was very bad about it. I became quite paranoid, which one could say in a backwards way, it kind of works. Which, to the game's credit, it can be... sometimes it can be scary. But at the end of the day, for what it's worth, it can at times be quite fun. The shooting is good when it works. The atmosphere I just enjoy. So what I'd say is look into buying it if you've played through something like Dusk or something like Quake and you just want more.